Good morning. Glad to have you today. It is Thursday, January 8th. Have to look, double check what day it is. Oh my goodness. I'm still in the like Groundhog's Day kind of thing, every day's kind of the same. I need to get my Christmas stuff down. I am sure most of you are way ahead of me. I haven't even touched it. So today I think is the day. But I've got this bits of stuff here around my sewing machine, and I did get asked to do the crazy quilting, just so I thought, okay, I can show you my WIPS that I failed to put out on the last one. And we'll do a little crazy quilting, and then I can kind of finish this stuff up that I've got around my sewing machine, and get it packed away when I get all this Christmas stuff put away. This will be part of it. So, welcome. I am Sherry. This is Mama Quilts and Crafts, and I do a little bit of everything. I really am a quilter, but I'm trying to think. No, I did quilting. I was a quilter. Started quilting in the 1970s, around the bicentennial. Remember that? And then I started cross stitching I think around 1980, and I really did primarily cross stitching there for quite a few years. And I think in talking to people, this is kind of a common story. Either they went to cross stitching then and stayed there, or they went into cross stitching and then morphed into quilting, and now they're going back to cross stitching. So I don't know if you identify with any of those. Write and tell me, are you one of those people? Because from what I kind of hear, that's pretty common. And of course, then there's a lot of people that are coming into cross stitching for the first time too, and quilting too. But I, in my mind, I think the quilting world has changed a little bit. I worked at a quilt shop for over 10 years in a little town near me, and enjoyed those years very much. Learned a lot, and then I got a long arm. After that, I don't even know what year. Well, I think we figured out I had my long arm 10 years, and actually I'm without my long arm right now. I've had, this is a saga. I started having trouble with it last summer, and I continued to have more trouble with it going into the fall. I had it repaired. I got it back from repair. It still was not right, and it is gone again, and I'm in the process of getting a new one. So I am kind of trying to patiently wait, although if I don't hear something this week, I'm going to be contacting them next week. Like, where is it? They told me they would have it to me after the first of the year, and we are there. And since I haven't really had a very good functioning long arm since last summer, it feels like it's been very stressful. And my customers kind of know that. I kind of have gone through a bit of angst, and not good. And so I kind of want it back. I've got kind of pieces ready to go that need to be quilted, so I've got work to do. And bless my customers that are patiently waiting. I maybe have lost some from it. I don't know what I could do about it. They were moving. My company that I deal with is Knowlting, and they were in the midst of a move, which meant they moved their entire shop, their entire building, the whole thing. And I get it, really hard. And then when I decided to buy this new machine, it was right before Christmas. So then we had Christmas, New Year's. So not great timing there either. So, and we were gone in November for a couple weeks on vacation. So that took out a chunk of time. So it's just kind of drug on longer than I would like. Well, enough of that. This is Flosstube number 14. I'm going to go ahead and call it that because I am going to do my WIPS that I did not show last time. And then I'm going to do just, I don't know if you want to call it a demo. I wouldn't call it a tutorial. I don't know what you want to call it. But I'm going to do some crazy patch that I've used to do these drawstring bags that I used for my bingo prizes. And I do need to make a bunch more of them. I probably only got half what I need, if even that, probably more like a third. So this is going to be an ongoing project. That's all I can say. I use paper bags, you know, lunch bags, which is what I've always done. But I've got so much fabric. I just thought, you know what, that'd be kind of a fun thing. And then I'll reuse them. The only downside is you gotta store them. That's kind of the downside. The paper bags in recycling, gone, done. So anyway, I can't show you my, oh, I can't remember what it's called. Goodwill and Peace and Goodwill. That Sandra Gervais Christmas piece. He's got the frame all cut. I don't think he's got it put together. My guess is he'll get to that today. While I'm packing boxes, he'll help me. The Silver Fox, that's what I call him, will get out all the totes and do whatever I ask him to do, but he's not that great at packing, and I'm kind of particular about that, so I kind of have to pack the totes. So I would imagine he might get that frame together today, but I will show you that when we get that done. I have been working on this pretty steady since I got those Christmas projects that I showed last time done. And it is coming along, but I'm hitting the house, this big old house. They go take a minute to get past this page. I'm kind of doing a page at a time is kind of how I'm doing it. So I'm not like going in and doing the whole border. I'm not, you know, I like borders, and the border on this is really pretty. But if I had to sit down and do the whole border, I don't think I'd like doing that. I like being able to move around a little bit. So this is the piece I'm doing. I have no idea how to say that. Crochet a go-go. Crochet a go-go. I don't know, but this is the piece I'm doing. It's called American Sampler. And she put it out last year. Maybe, I think last summer. I think she put it out last summer because I think I started it on July 4th last year. So I would love to have it done by July 4th. I don't know. I'd have to really stick to it if I do that. And here is where I'm at on it. I'm working on the house. You can kind of just start seeing the roof. And I'll just show you what I've got done. Sorry, I don't iron stuff. It's just wonderful. I love every bit of this thing. I just love every bit of it. And it's turning out so nice. And there you can see the roof line of the house. And there's a flag, and then there'll be a flag that'll go that way. And another dormer. So, and I really haven't done the body of the house. I think I'm going to do the roof first, and then I'll work my way down. I did do a little fill in here, but I want to go over there and finish this roof. And the roof has this, it's real delicate, but it's got a checker pattern. Yeah, you can see it. Over here you can really see it because I haven't done the second color yet. How cute is that? And this is, I did not do, this is all DMC floss except for one. I did a hand-dyed, I pulled in a hand-dyed green here for these trees. She had these trees all across the bottom and then all across the top here done in a couple colors, switching back and forth. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. That just sounds tedious to me. So I pulled out one of my hand dyeds and I'm just doing the trees with this and calling that wonderful. And I like it. There's just enough subtle variation to it that I really like it. This is called Shrekie's Tan. It's 18 count. So it's not a linen, it's Aida, but it is a hand-dyed 18 count. So, I mean, don't be afraid if you don't want to do linen. I have a love-hate relationship with that. If you can tell, I've done some linen pieces, and I do like the look of that. I'm not going to lie. I like the look of it. In my younger days, I had moved kind of to linen, but coming back to it, it's taken me a minute to be able to see it good enough. And some are better than others, you know, as far as that goes. But anyway, and this is one strand. One strand, and it's all DMC. Here's the colors. And that looks all green, doesn't it? That's because I've got stuff hidden. I got stuff. They're not in anything consistent. I got stuff in bags. I got stuff in bobbins. A lot of this, like here, this was from a friend. I'm just trying to use it up. Here's my hand-dyed piece, and then I've got some DMC in bags. So it's functional. It's not pretty, it's functional. I don't know. I don't mind having stuff in bags. The bobbins are okay. But look at that fob I got this last summer with a little box of goodies. I love that. That's super cute. So that is American Sampler, and you can see I'm on page 3. They're vertical. So 1, 2, 3. And where I'm at now, this house, this is where I'm at with the page 3 is the house. So that part of the page maybe goes down to there. So that's solid stitching. Once I get past that, you know, it'll move a little bit quicker. Except you just have to change your floss a little bit more. I will say, beware, and I've mentioned this before, because I've seen it online. If you go looking for this pattern, make sure you go to her site to get it. And Dorigo Michaela, maybe? I don't know how you say her name. Because there is copycat sites and people have sent money and not got a pattern. Just saying. They've taken her stuff, done all these pictures, and then somehow hook it, you know. Yeah, not cool. Not cool at all. So, anyway, I got a PDF, so you can see I kind of I don't really care that much. Mine gets all wrinkled up and stuff from being in my bag and folded and whatever. But, you know, I can always print out another copy if I need to. So, anyway, and then here's, I think I've showed this to you before. I know I have. This is my little scissor pocket. And I've got a cute little pair of scissors stuck in there. And my mother, this was in my mother's things that she'd never finished. And so instead of making a little ornament out of it, I decided to make a scissor pocket out of it. And then I added some fun little stuff. And then I've got a little tag here in the back that says, basically tells that. So anyway, it's kind of fun to have that of my mom's. I have a whole house full, to be real honest. I'm the only granddaughter on both sides of my family. And because of that, I had really very close relationships with my grandmothers. And then, you know, so, and I've liked old things. I've liked old things ever since I was a really young person. And it's never changed. That has never changed. So I have a lot of things that are from my grandparents and now my parents, since they both passed. And so anyway, so those things, I love that. I love to be able to touch them and use them and have them. And I'm trying to see here, where is... Maybe I made that one up. Maybe that's with my Patriotic stuff. I don't even know, because I'm not seeing it in here. Okay, this I have not started. Well, I take that back. See, I must have already put away the one, because I've got it done. Yeah, here's the fabric and everything. Okay, I want to do this one. I did the one, this was in conjunction here. I'll show the picture back here, because I don't have the other one. I have, oh my goodness gracious. I have the stars one done, which is this one over here. This is stars along the side, but I don't have the ampersand and the stripes done, which is in this pattern. So I do want to get to that. I have the fabric, and it's a 20 count oatmeal Aida. So I need to kind of get going on that. And then I even have this one, and I haven't started this either, and I've got a piece of fabric for this. This is an oldie. That's been around a while. Want to do that. And I think I have a piece of fabric that works on, but maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to check here. Not sure about that. So, oh, and then this is that bag. This is one of those bags, and then I stitched over the top of it. And I've got, isn't she a hoot? That's a Lego thing on there. And then the other deal is just a little charm I got at a retreat, I think. Okay, we need to keep moving here. I'm not going to get any sewing done. Okay, then the other, this is the only really other WIP I have, and I started this on September 12th. And it's kind of a combination thing. It's in, I never did a 9/11 piece, but this is one from that. It's called Michael's Prayer, and Michael was a priest, and he prayed over the firemen right before they went up. He was in a local, I think, church parish there, and he was one of the first people killed. A piece of building material, I think, fell on him almost immediately after he had prayed for these guys. It's kind of a moving story. I remember seeing that And so after the murder of Charlie Kirk was like the day after, and I thought, oh, I want to do something. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make it be for both. So this was the start, and I think I stitched this on, I don't know, September 12th and 13th, maybe. I just worked on it for a couple days. And then, you know, left it because I knew I wanted to work on fall things. That was kind of the thing. So I've just got a good start on it. Let's see. This is 28 count Legacy Wren. I love this. I love the look of it. I loved working on it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that. And as I recall, this, I didn't have any trouble, but it was 28 count. So you do, I'm sure it's 2 over 2. So it's like a 14 count. So it's not so small. If you're afraid of linen, that would be kind of a good place to start. And here's the colors for that. Let's see if we can see there. You know, so it's lovely. So I need to have this out in my chair so I can work on this too. When I feel like it. Those are probably my sampler, and that are probably the ones I'll work on first here. And then I've got, I did buy this, ordered this, and I haven't even started. This will be another one I want to kind of get going on. So I am kind of a monogamous stitcher, but that's not to say I won't have a couple things kind of out there. I ordered this, We Are Blessed, and this was it's a collaboration between Chantel 141, and last I knew she still had some of these. You can only get it as a kit. You cannot get the pattern by itself, and it comes with this whole drum to finish the whole bit, and Teresa Kogut. But you would get it off of Chantel's. You can get the information there. And this is for the semi-quincentennial. I'm not sure how you say that. I don't know how to say that correctly. Here's the floss. And like I say, I have not started it. And I did get a 36 count linen, so this will be 1 strand over 2. It's all packaged up so nice. There you can see it. So I do want to get started on this. So one of these first days here, I get this Christmas stuff put away. I'm gonna dig into that. But I saw that and I thought, oh, I need that for my Patriotic room. I just love that. So, and I already see people have got it done. And it didn't come until like the first of the year. Unbelievable. So this has all for the top of it, and then I've got another bag that's got all the wood pieces in. And then this is another thing I have not started. I've got the floss all pulled. I wanted to do this book too. I like to do series. I like to do season series, and I have wanted to do this ever since I bought it. Not new. Seasons of the Heart with my needle and thread. So that's another on my to-do list. Okay. All right, we need to get to doing some sewing. So if you're not interested in crazy patch or stitching or that kind of thing, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm working on this. I've kind of used the pattern from Tiger Lily, and you can get it off of her website as a downloadable PDF. I want to say it was like $5, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was more than that. I don't know. And it's a drawstring bag, and her directions are pretty good. And so yeah, I just printed it out, and that's kind of the basis that I've used. And I'm gonna put the camera down now so you can see what I'm doing. And we're gonna do some crazy patch, and I need to get some fabric out here to work with. That might help, huh? Okay, we're gonna grab this little stack. I've got some bigger pieces here. I showed you this the other day. This is kind of my working Christmas scrap basket per se of, bits and pieces of things. They're not big enough to be in where the folded, where I've actually got like a fat quarter or half yard or yard, whatever. And I've got that over there on a shelf. And then I've got yardage Christmas stuff behind me here in the armoire at the bottom. Yeah. And like for backs and those kinds of things. And all of that, I pretty much, my Christmas fabric exploded after there was a couple of estate sales that I happened to hit on, and they practically were giving it away. It was hardly any money, so I couldn't say no. So anyway, there you have it. Okay, so this is like one of the ones I did one night. And to be real honest, in the directions she talks about making crumbs, I don't do it the way she does it. I'm just saying. I don't know that there's a right or wrong way. There maybe is a few tips, things you want to avoid, like an inner corner kind of situation. You maybe don't want to do that. If you want to do it by machine, if you want to do stuff by hand, then it doesn't matter. You can cover that up. But I don't really think there is a right or wrong way to do this. I'm just chopping up fabric and I'm sewing it together. So this is one panel for one side of a bag. And to be real honest, I've got my bags already put away, so I don't even have one done here. Here. It'd be like this. Only this one, I just used a piece of fabric right here. This is where this would go if I was using the crazy patch. So you can kind of see, you don't have to do, like if you want to make some of these bags and you want to use up some Christmas fabric, you don't have to go to this work, because this is more work for sure. So anyway, let me move the camera down here, and hopefully we can make it so you can see okay. Here we go. I think I'll lift it up just a hair. I haven't done this for a while, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so this one is put together, so I don't need that. And that's my note for how big they kind of have to be. All right, so now I actually kind of see I've got little bits and bobs going here and just stuff that I have started. And I know I did this one night late. I had a migraine And I was kind of waiting for the medicine to kind of kick in. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to sit down and see if I can't, you know, use up. There was just a little pile of, see, look at these. And some of these pieces are not very big. I mean, those are almost garbage situation. I mean, truly. And so I just start putting together things that are of similar size. And like, yeah, you can see that I've got a stack of stuff there. I'll start pulling out of that. I don't think I've got anything that's this wide here. So, and see, when I have little bits like that, I kind of set them off to the side. Okay. And see, you can see here, I've got a chunk going, I've got another chunk going, and here's a third chunk going. So eventually that could go with there, and maybe I'll come up with, you know, something else. See that I just kind of, it evolves. Let's just say that. And I'll put that out of the way. We're going to work on these is what we're going to do until we get something big enough we can. And okay, I'm going to do that. I keep telling my iron it wants to shut off. All right, so we're going to put this on here. Well, I got to remember to be over here by the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm going to put that there. Okay, and I do set my seam allowance at 1/4 inch, but I've been known to stitch stuff at 1/8 inch when the piece is tiny. I was trying to see if I can see any piece where I've done that. This is probably the smallest. Here you can kind of see, you know, those weren't very big pieces to begin with, so I didn't want to have all this seam allowance. Okay. So we're going to just do this. And this is kind of, I don't know. For me, I find this very relaxing. Now, some people wouldn't because there's not a pattern and blah, blah, blah. The part I like is, let's see here, I'll get my iron here, down here a little bit. You're making something out of nothing. That's how I look at it. This stuff really, when it's this small, doesn't have a lot of value, to be real honest. The only value it has is you paid good money for this square inch. And in today's market, you truly did. Fabric is not cheap. And so, I don't know. I kind of like to get the use out of it. Okay. And this is like that's really raggedy, so I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. See? We don't end up with a very big piece, but I used it up. You don't do this to see how fast you can be. I'll say that. Alrighty. So, and maybe, I don't know, I'm probably doing this all wrong. I probably should start with this so you can see something from the beginning. Let's do that. Sorry, I'm not very well organized today, am I? Okay, I've got this square. Normally, what I like to do is find something that fits together. And I don't care one whit about grain line or anything. I'm not paying any attention to that. Okay, here's 2 little strips. I'm going to put them together, and they're little, so I'm only going to do like an 1/8 inch seam allowance on this. Because they're little. This will be better. So I just did 2 little strips. And I do press as I go. I just like to keep things together. And then see, we got strings everywhere. So we need to deal with that. Need to get rid of all that. We don't want that. Okay, and then I've got, okay, now maybe I can do, I think we'll do this across here. Because how that slants, there is no rhyme or reason to this. Don't overthink it. I do try and do straight edges. It just makes life simpler. So I do like to do that, and I'm just gonna, and I don't use a ruler. You don't need to use a ruler. Okay, so there's that. Okay, now I've got this piece. Okay, look at there. See, that almost fits there. So that's good. That works. Okay, we're gonna put this along here, and that's not very straight. Let's try this way. This is better. Okay. Alrighty. And because I'm trying to end up with a certain size, you know, that's where I have these. I get to a certain part and I think, well, these are kind of big pieces. See, I want to add some smaller stuff to it. But look at that. See, you took nothing here, and you're starting to build something. Am I paying attention to the fabric? Oh, yes and no. I'm not maybe putting, you know, identical fabrics next to each other. I'm not doing that. And this I'm going to straighten off because I can tell it's wonky. There. There we go. Okay, so what do we got there? This piece almost has nothing on it. Oh well, let's just use it. I know where it came from. I've got this one piece that's got these big people on it. And I'm trying to use it up. So, and then I just, you know, flip it back and iron it. What do we got here? Do we have anything? And this is, I need a 6.5 by 10, so that's too big. Here, let's see what we got here. Yeah, well, we'll just keep working on this. That's why I have several pieces going at once. Oh, this would be good, so I could maybe add something to this. Yeah, see, like that. This is other bits that I've worked on. There, that one fits. See how that, see, I'm looking for like sizes. Okay, that's really close. That kind of does an angle, and I don't want to make this crooked, so I'm going to straighten that up. Sometimes it wouldn't matter, but I want that a little straighter. I don't want this to get kinked. Okay, which way was it? It was like this. Okay, so we're going to put these two pieces together. And you literally just keep building. To get it, you know, close to the size that you want. Okay, so I need a 10-inch long. I don't think that's going to work with any of this stuff, what I got here. Okay. Oh, but I've got this. Forgot about that, you know, we just did. So can I do that? Let's see here. I want this squared off, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it be squared off. And since it's the identical fabric, you're not going to really notice it. I didn't even match the you know, I didn't match it. These are bags for bingo prices. Nobody's going to care. Trust me, nobody is going to care if I match those plaids on this. Okay, so we're gonna, and all I'm trying to do is square that off. There we go. Okay, see, now I can put that there without losing, otherwise I was gonna have to hack off that, all that, and I didn't really want to do that. Okay, there we go. See, this isn't, it doesn't take all that long if you have kind of a pile of scraps. Oops. Seam allowance kind of flipped there. There we go. Okay, and I wonder if this is not too wide. I need 6.5. No, it's on, can you believe it, guys? This is 6.5 wide. So this is exactly what I need, except I need it to be 10 inches long. So I need to add another 3 inches. Let's see if we've got something that's a little too big. Okay, we're just gonna add to it. I don't have none of these that I have already kind of started, you know, don't really help me. So we're just gonna add some strips. Okay. What do we got here? I haven't used any of that. Yeah, see, and it's almost the right size. That's what you want to, and you know, unless you've got something really long. I try and match something that's really close to the size, and then you use it up and you don't waste it. So, there. Where it's coming. Stick that back there. That's kind of a little bitty. What do we got here? Oh, see, there's another one. Oh, that'll be perfect. Now, see, that's where I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch seam allowance because this isn't very wide. But I like that. It's super light against the dark, so it's a nice contrast. It's almost the perfect length. even better. And do I go by anything like for an 1/8 inch? No, I guess. I just make it consistent, or try to. Listen, if it's not straight, you trim it off. That's why you can't really go too far off the beaten path here. And every one of them is going to be different. And you don't have to use stuff that's so small. You can use bigger hunks. I just think it's more interesting. The more fabric you use, the more interesting it is. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, here's a nice little plaid. That's super cute. And it's bigger down here than it is up there. See, I can see this is narrow and this is bigger. Well, this is bigger, so I can maybe almost straighten it off by using this piece of fabric. There we go. So, let's get and again, I'm using an 1/8 inch on this. On this particular strip. And we'll press it back like we do. Yeah, and that worked out really well. See, that kind of straightened the edge. See, this is narrow down here. Well, this is wider, so then it makes this straight. Unbelievable. Well, that worked. Now I am gonna trim. Let's see here how it goes. Yeah, it kind of wants to go up. So we're gonna do it. We're just gonna eyeball this. We're gonna make it a little bit. Trim it off. There we go. And we're gonna trim this off here. Okay, these little bits, I kind of keep them in a separate little pile. Okay, where are we at here? See, I need one more strip. What do we got here that we could use? Here, let's use this. Let's use this. Okay. And you don't have to cut this before you do it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There we go. Okay, and then we've got, we're actually a little over 10 down here, so not by much. We're gonna scoot it up here so I can see where that line is. I'm not going to use that. It's too. Let's use this. There we go. Yeah, and I won't keep that. Okay, so there you go. There's let me see here if we got the width okay. Yeah, 6.5, it's good. It's good. So we're gonna square this up here. Take that off. And there we go. There's one panel. And super cute. I'm not in love with that. I'm not, because I don't have the right thing over here. I may take one of my little sentiment labels and pink the edges and just stitch right over the top of it, you know, right over here, and make a little, and kind of cover that up, because it's like a dead area to me. I think I'll do that. I won't do that here on camera because I don't have my right rotary cutter with me, although I guess I could do it by hand. Oh, that sounds laborious. Let me see. Do I even have? I don't know if I have. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't either have. I don't know. I don't see a pair of hand ones. I mean, I do have them, but I'm not sure where they're at. I use the rotary one now most of the time. So, yeah. All right. So I'll come back to that. So I don't know if that helped you at all. I've got a bag here we could kind of put together, so at least you could see how it comes together. But you just start sewing patches together and make it, I like straight lines. Make straight lines and then, you know, add them to other things. Okay, so this needs, here's okay, I've got a bag that's this far. So like if I did the crazy patch would be here on this side. And this is the casing that the drawstring, the ribbon is going to go through. And I've hemmed that. And so this is going to be my lining. And so we need to put this right sides together. And we'll kind of put one of these together real quick here. I got bags in various stages of production here. Oh, so that's what I want to use up. I want to kind of use this stuff up that I've got kind of cut out and ready. And I'm doing right sides together here. This is the lining. So I'm just doing these seam allowances here around the casing, around the top of the bag. Now obviously there's a bajillion ways to make bags. I made a couple that I just, you know, put them right sides together, lined them, and did a zipper on the top. Did that. Okay, now this needs to go like this. So we've got the lining pieces together. This is the only place I pinned. I'm going to leave an opening here in the bottom of this lining. to turn the bag inside out. Okay, and then I line up these seam allowances here on the side, so where the lining and the bag meets. And then I line up the seam allowance where the bottom of the bag and this panel would meet. So either you use a fabric in here or you do crazy patch or whatever. You could do 2-inch squares, you know, and make a panel out of 2-inch squares. I've actually got a bag of 2-inch squares there. Should have done one like that. I'll have to do that. So I'm just lining these seam allowances up. This is on the side, so now I'm doing the side of the bag. This is the only place I pinned, I think, practically in this whole thing. I didn't use very many pins. I'm not really a pinner unless it's critical. But that's just me. Okay, so now this is where my opening is. So I'm going to stitch across here, down the side, and my lining looks a little wide here. So I'm going to make a deeper seam allowance on the lining than I am on the bag. And I'm just doing that by sight. And then I'll do over here and down that side. And it looks like I've got just a little bit of extra here. Maybe I'll just not worry about that too much there. I want to put that on the bottom, baggy bottom. If you've got extra, you know, fullness, you want to put that on the bottom. Say baggy bottom. That's how you remember. You've got bagginess that needs to go to the back on the bottom side. And let your feed dogs do the work. Okay, we're going to... And I need to make a wider seam allowance here because I can just see my lining is just a little bit wider than my bag. So I'm just going to compensate for that. Coming down to the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to flip this over and do it from this side because I've got a little bit of baggy bottom over here. So again, I'm leaving an opening. This is the lining of the bag, bottom of the bag, so I'm leaving an opening there. I'm back stitching because that opening needs to, this side doesn't look too bad. And I'm not back stitching at the bottom of these bags or at these corners because I'm going to box the corners. And you'll see that here really shortly. Okay, I don't think I need to do... Hold it, I do too. I need to box the corners right now. See, I haven't done this for a minute. I have to look at my directions. Yeah, I need to box the corners now. Okay. All right, so if you've never done that, that just makes the bottom of your bag, kind of gives it a bottom. And sometimes you like that. This pattern calls for you do a 2-inch square, and I'm going in from the seam line. So I'm putting in, I'm putting my mark right on the seam line. I'm not, although this could go, how was that? Now that I say that, sew lines, yes, yes. Okay, I was questioning myself in my head. Yes, that's correct. So I've got the 2-inch line on the sewn line. So I'm marking that. I almost need to make my opening a little farther because I'm right in that. I think my pen is drying out here. It's not marking very good. Okay, 2-inch on the seam line. And I'm marking a square inside that. Good grief. That's annoying. Okay, I am going to sew while I'm here. I'm going to sew that line a little farther in. There. Okay. All right, so now we need to go over here to the bag part. And on the bag part, we've got a seam allowance and a fold line. Well, you're going to put the line, again, you're doing 2 inches, but you're going to follow the seam line and the fold line. So it's not going to look square when you mark this, because you've got that extra seam allowance. It looks kind of wonky, if you know what I mean. But I'm marking from the seam line and using the fold line. So I've got this extra hanging out there. Just ignore that. Again, I'm putting my 2-inch line on the stitching line and the fold. And the bigger the square, the round, the boxier the bottom is going to be, okay? All right, so now we're going to take and we're going to cut on those lines. And you just cut it out. And you're going, well, this doesn't look right. Well, it is. And I'm doing all 4 of them. Well, I'm doing them because I'll go back and I'm going to sew all 4 of them. We will shut them up. Okay, so now you're going to pull it apart. That's where I had to do that extra for that. See, my opening is right here, and before I would have had that flopping, and I can't have that. So I needed to make my, I'm pulling that apart there, and I'm matching those cut lines. I'm matching the seam allowance, and I just make them opposing. I don't press it. I don't do anything like that. I will pin it here to show you, but normally I don't pin it. And there it is. So I've pulled that apart and I've met those cut lines, and I'm going to stitch right along across there. And this is closing the bag back up. And you're going to do that all 4 corners. So here we go. I'm going to pull that apart. There's my opening in the lining that I'm going to use to turn the bag. Meet the seam allowances. And sew across that opening. Okay. Now we're going to do the bag part, and the bag, on this bag, they interface all the bag parts. So it's, and I would recommend that. Makes for a nicer bag. Okay, and here I don't have seam allowances to line up. I've just got the one seam. I just flip it one way, and then you're just going to go across the same thing. And just one more. We almost have a bag, guys. And you'll see how this looks once I turn it out. Okay. I don't trim them. I don't trim those or anything. Okay. Now we're going to turn the bag right side out through that opening in the lining. And there, I'm going to push those, there's those corners. So see there, look at how that makes that bag, it gives it a bottom. See? Pretty cool. Okay, and now I need to, before I get, I'm just not gonna, I make that lining, but really before I put it down in there, I can push out those corners. I need to do the opening. So I just turn it, you know, turn the edges inside about 1/4 of an inch, and we're just gonna stitch right on the edge. I do back stitch a little bit, forward and back. Okay, and that's gonna go inside, and I just use my fingers to push out that lining into those corners. It's just not that difficult, really. It wants to kind of do that, fill that space. And there's our bag without the drawstring. And so all you do is, you know, one loop of drawstring this way and tying a knot, and I run a second loop going from that side over to back this side, so it pulls both ways. But there you go, and see how the bottom is. And that's because you did a 2-inch square. The bigger the square, see, it makes it almost a cube shape. And then you obviously, we could press this around the top edge. Some of the bags I top stitch this top edge. Some of them I didn't, you know, it kind of just depended what mood I was in. But there you go. So that's how you do, we did some crazy patch today. Where did I put my piece? Oh, here. There. There's some different ones. And this is the piece we did today, and I don't really care for that. I think I'm gonna, you know, take one of these, pink the edges, and just stitch it right over the top. It'll be fine. There's another one. Here's a partial. So, you know, you get the idea. You just, here like strips, and then I added, and just, I try and come up with whatever kind of fits. And then if I don't have short pieces, then I go into my long pieces, you know, and just start whacking them off. And, you know, that's how you use stuff up. So anyway, well, I hope this was helpful to you, not too convoluted. I don't know. I don't feel like I have the best setup, but I don't really have a way of doing it from the top. At least I haven't figured that out where I could actually work. So anyway, thank you for joining me today, and subscribe, like, all the things, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.